21833. Good morning, everyone. Sorry for the delay. I needed to check on a couple documents that I will tell you guys about. And now I'm here. So if you have not done so already, if you would put your name and agency that you're affiliated with in the chat box, that would be perfect. We're just going to take attendance records just to make sure that we have reached everyone that registered through the survey link that we sent out. So again, these sessions are all the same. So I just set enough times to give you all enough work room. So if it does not fit your schedule, one session didn't fit your schedule, then there would be several others that you could join. But if you were unable to join us yesterday, I'm going to go over the same information. I will tell you some new stuff that we didn't have yesterday. We have an updated LILA form, so I'm going to talk about the changes with WellSky, but we actually do have a form now thanks to your fellow St. Tammany Council on Aging, Area Agency on Aging / Council on Aging. They sent it right over, and Lauren has taken a look at it, so it's been just a minute. I'm sorry.
Shavon?
Yes.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes. This is Kathy with Franklin Parish Council on Aging. I have Miss Marilyn joining today because she couldn't join yesterday, but we were trying to get in on the Zoom. Has the access code changed?
This is the Zoom.
We're dialing in. We wanted to do it over the computer, but we couldn't get our access code to take.
The link for this one, there's no access code for this link. So the number that you dialed on this one, the email that you saw that gave you the phone number for this one, did it have today's date on it?
No.
Okay, tell me which agency you're with.
Franklin Parish Council on Aging.
Franklin Parish. Jeremy, please forward Franklin the link for today. He's going to forward it to Kay. Because I know
no, Kay's not here today. I need him to forward it to me or me or somebody. Okay. Me, Marilyn, or Marie.
What's your email address?
The letter K. Last name Cooks, COOKS.
Okay.
FPCOA. Yeah, at Yahoo. Okay.
So I just sent it to you, and I'm just double check reply all in case it doesn't come in. And Jeremy can pick up and send it to you again. I think there's there's an issue with Outlook. I don't know if they're doing some type of update, but you're not the only one. It's being weird, so I'm sorry about that.
No problem. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Shavon.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes.
Good morning.
I'm sorry, it's a bad connection.
Good morning.
Yes, I just forwarded you the email link.
Okay, I'm on now.
Oh, you got it. Okay, I thought it was a phone number talking. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Okay, Outlook. Sorry, guys. Outlook is giving me a hard time. I did not realize it until I started with Sinlaw yesterday. So this morning I was kind of trying to do a little damage control and let someone else in the building send it out. Some of us are experiencing some Outlook issues. So to get back started, we are going over some things that are occurring that affect us as an entire network of like same similar organizations. So I'm bringing all of us here together, and I'm hosting these sessions as often as possible in these 3 days stacked together. I do thank you guys for juggling the shuffling with me with the schedule changes. I didn't foresee that being a problem when I set this plan back in December, but just so I can keep moving for you, I just kind of work around it. So the first thing we will start with is the WellSky changes. So all the changes we're going to talk about affect every agency, whether you are an area agency on aging, or you are an area agency / council on aging, or you're just a council on aging. We have 3 different organizations in our aging network structure here in the state of Louisiana. Some other states have similar structures. However, we're just going to focus on what we need to do and how ours are structured. But within that, we are having to do the exact same thing the rest of the nation is doing, and that is primarily the WellSky update for the reporting data elements. The reporting elements that you may have received contact from Lauren about that may be missing from your WellSky reports are required by the federal government now. So I know it's a bit chaotic on the side of units and the WellSky upgrades and updates, but we have to kind of walk the walk to figure out how to make this less chaotic while we input changes in the WellSky system so that we have all of this all set for you guys to move forward and not have to do a lot of shuffling in order to get your final report situated. We as a GOEA, we do a call with the WellSky team every Thursday each week, and we've been doing so for months now. So even while you're using WellSky, we're steady changing and developing the new consolidated platform in the background. A lot of the things you have to do now is because the current system was missing those options, didn't include them, or they just were not very user friendly. So myself and Sherry's department, the compliance and planning department, GOEA, and primarily you hear from Lauren now. She's doing the team. You used to hear from Kayla, and then before that was Tim Jones. So we're all working together to make sure it's user friendly and it's helpful, because once we get done with it, that's what we're rolling with. One of the issues that we've had with, sorry, I'm about to send me a message. Okay, one of the issues that we've had with the WellSky data entry process is the LILA form. You should continue to use your existing LILA form until we offer you a new one, and that was one that we were working with WellSky to develop. However, this all network call that we did generated some good graces out of St. Tammany Area Agency on Aging, and they shared a completely revamped LILA form, and Lauren has already taken the time to look at it and see how well it flows and if we need to even bother WellSky to do a thing for us. And so far it's looking amazing. So shout out to St. Tammany for providing this updated LILA form and offering it for all of you to use. So I don't know a date as of yet, but we will soon be able to give you a LILA form that works better. We are going to run it by WellSky and make sure that whatever the changes we're making in our WellSky system right now will flow with the form as it is, or just be aware of what may need to be updated on the form to flow with the new WellSky system updates. So that's just a new development coming out of this. So moving forward, continue to use what you're doing until we notify you. When we do notify you about it, we're going to put it on the GOEA website so you can have immediate, constant, forever access to it, to pull it down, make your copies. It should work without any issue with any of the electronic WellSky systems some of you have incorporated into your business processes. when we discussed changes that WellSky needed to do so that we can meet these federal requirements for these missing data elements that they now want. Constantly and forever from the beginning of this and every time we get to it, does this also cover those individuals who have already done updates to their WellSky system, maybe dating back to 2021? So they say yes, it should, and there should not be any problem there. So we're always making sure that's working. And so that's done. That changes my whole spiel for WellSky. It was I did a bunch of stuff on that one yesterday, but now I'm just really excited that you guys have this LILA form that works. Oh, NFCSP, that was the other piece. We have not discussed the NFCSP assessment form with them as much as we have discussed the LILA form itself. That one is separate, but you should still continue to use that one as well. We may have also received an updated form from St. Tammany on the NFCSP assessment part. However, I'll have to get with Lauren and check on the forms after I finish the session. So I wasn't able to do that, but Lauren's taking a look for us. In the WellSky environment, we're almost ready to start pulling in agencies to convert you over to the new environment. It's going to be very similar, but it will flow much better. It'll be more user-friendly. WellSky did just recently have a mandatory upgrade. I believe it was March 4th. Before, you could not access WellSky outside of Internet Explorer, and now you are able to access WellSky through Chrome. That was just the notes in the update notification we received. I haven't had an opportunity to see that in action yet, but when Lauren and I come together on another task that we touched on, she'll show me that, and I can see how well it works for it. Once we are done with the WellSky building, the background, golden admin structure, the restructure of the user friendliness of the system, WellSky will do a training for GOEA. And then we will also look to set up a training for you all in the field that deal with the WellSky system. I don't know how or when we will need to manage all of that for you, but we are keeping it on our radar, and we won't skip the actual physical, in-person, in the moment, interactive training for the WellSky system. So I wanted to start there because I was actually forwarding those other LILA forms for Lauren this morning. Okay, I'm clicking stuff. All right, I'm going to go back to an introduction of myself. I am Shavon Humphrey, the GOEA HCBS program manager. I started with GOEA in 2007 as a program auditor. So I have learned and taken upon tasks from the accounting and finance side, dealing with agent network operations. And then I am now on the service side of agent network operations. So I've had a little bit of everything dealing with agent network. And whenever I get ready to consider any changes that may affect you guys, I always felt that it's necessary for us all to come together to make sure we all know exactly what we are all doing. Now, the specifics of how you get it done from your agency standpoint will be applicable to what you need for your agency in your community and the residents of your parish. But the general policies and procedures that we all follow are the same. So we're getting all this information together, and it's also because we depend on one another to get these jobs done. Another reason we are all here is because I want you to be aware of those team members within your own agency that you need to depend on to get all of these tasks done. I don't do this all by myself, even though you're seeing me here today, standing here. It's been me and my department working on these items since before COVID, and then during COVID, and now post-COVID. So we have done all of this moving together. And then not only just the staff members in the HCBS department, but all of the other staff members in GOEA that have input in understanding what we can do better for you all as an aging network, where the struggle points are, where the holes are, where we can make some adjustments or just flat out make some all around 360 changes, like we got to do something completely different in order to receive a more effective positive result. And those individuals that are joining these Zoom calls from your each individual agencies, those are the same team members that I would depend on here at GOEA when I'm making these session calls or requests that you join us for some information. It's a lot of information to hold. It's a lot of overlap. One person's got to be more of an expert going down lane number 1 versus the one that's in lane number 2, but those lanes don't parallel. They're actually overlapping and crossing each other at some point. So those connections that you have with yourself and your staff are super important. And in those connections that we have with you guys, for the feedback that you're going to give us, the information you can tell us, the things that work, the things that don't work, the things that are great, the things that are not great, that information is important so we know how we're moving forward. There's also the upcoming federal policy and procedure changes. The ACL webinar that was hosted a few weeks back indicated they're making changes. They have deadlines on when the changes need to be implemented and when they will hold against us whether or not we're in compliance. So we want to actively move forward into the new policy and procedure changes that ACL is going to bring down. And we want to be already doing it before we get to that October 2025 deadline. So while we are trying to figure out what to do with this ARP funding, then we're also tasked with, okay, what new policy and procedure are we going to need to follow in between all of this? We will do at OEA is review those items. You can find that on ACL's website. I'm sorry, I don't have the website, but one of my staff members drop the ACL website in the chat box for you. That is where you find all the rule changes. And what we do here at OEA is we take that information, we compare our current policy and procedure manual, make sure we update it and incorporate those ACL mandated changes that the entire nation's follow, put it in the Louisiana GOEA policy and procedures manual. And then I will have that information to disseminate to you guys as a group and say, hey, our new policy and procedure manual is now online. And we'll have an active date, like actively indicating, thank you, Olivia, actively indicating when and where we start doing this versus that. So that's coming down the pipeline and in the works already. We do have a lot of need to reach out to you. So these sessions are also to let you know it may seem a bit cumbersome because even the scheduling seemed really smooth when I set it up, but sometimes we will have to make adjustments, but we will make the adjustments to accommodate your schedules. I don't want to impose on your time in ways where you're missing other things, because we can make adjustments from our end to accommodate you guys. So it will be a lot of contact from those of us that need to reach out to you in groups depending on what we're addressing, whether we're doing something with WellSky or we're doing something with just the general service delivery updates. But as we move forward, I just did not want you to feel accosted or dumped on by all of the time that you may need to give OEA in order to reach all of you at the same time, so everyone has the same information. And those team members from your agencies that are sitting on these calls with you, or you're giving them the information after you get off the call, let them help you remember these new things. So that's my intro spiel. I was moving so fast I didn't book the training room, guys. So I'm in my office, kind of moving around more than I was yesterday. right, so we have the LIGO form. I'm just scratching this one off my list because we're going to look at that one, update it. We can move forward with that one fairly quickly. Now, let's talk about funding issues. Well, let me scroll back to where we are with COVID-related service deliveries. As of July 2023, the start of this fiscal year, we are back to regular routine service deliveries. There are no remaining COVID alternatives that have been provided by our federal partners as far as what to do because of COVID in forms of delivering your services. Now, because of COVID, there have been some expanded allowability, but as far as having a bona fide COVID-related service alternative, those are long gone. So if you're not back on your regular routine schedule, you need to cease any of those COVID-related alternatives that you have not spoken to us about and had approval to continue and proceed. These alternatives are the let me give you a good example because there were several questions. So I want to give you the best example for this. The use of Title 3B supportive services funds to cover the cost of your meals. That is the type of COVID-related service alternative that is no longer allowed. You need to keep your funding in the program for which it's related, and your expenditures must be also related to that title program. So no additional transferring of title dollars out of one title program into a different title program to cover expenditures. We are back to the regular routine of things. Now, for your service deliveries, if you've spoken to your program monitor or even me directly about struggles with your service deliveries and we've approved a plan for you to move forward, you're fine with those. If you have not and you are struggling with your service deliveries, then you can reach out to your program monitor. I would suggest you shoot an email that says, I need assistance with service deliveries in this program and which service, so that we can put you on our list for contact and give you a work plan on what you can do instead of, or get further details so that we can make sure you're accounting for all the efforts related to that service delivery. If you are struggling with what to do with your ARP funding is the last pot of COVID-related funding that we have available for use, and it expires September 30th, 2024. Our goal is to have all of that money expended by June 30th, 2024, because that's the close of our fiscal year. So if you have a struggle with utilizing your ARP funding for whatever reason, you can shoot your program monitor an email so that I can add you to my list of the solutions that I have for use of your ARP funding. A lot of your fellow agencies, and maybe some on this call now, I'm not seeing anyone standing out, that's why I say some of your fellow agencies, have had struggles with the in-home services under the Title 3B Supportive Services Program and the Title 3E National Family Caregiver Support Program. And this is mostly due to contracted agencies that are unable to fulfill those contracts that you have engaged in with them. I have a solution for you. It works. It will work. It's acceptable. It's allowable. So if you have any issues there, please shoot your program monitor an email, and I'll add that agency to the list, and we will be in contact as soon as possible, because I don't want you to send your money back. The federal government does not want you to send the money back. But if we don't get the money expended, then we have to send the money back. The website for GOEA has been under construction for revamping. When we first moved over here at some point, or I don't know. I forget the date because we're moving pretty fast these days. However, it's up and it's running and it's there, and we're constantly changing something. I got some good feedback from an agency yesterday, and I'm requesting from you guys also the same. You check out the GOEA website. Let me know if something is just not so user friendly, because we are constantly looking at it and adding things to it. And there is a list of staff members and assigned parishes for those staff members. So if you're not familiar with who your program monitor is, you can find that information on our website. You also have your GOEA program auditor for your financial needs, and you will find that information on the website as well. So you'll look for your parish name, and those individuals that are directly related to a list of parishes are the ones who have assigned duties for a group of parishes, your program monitors and your program auditors. We will be pushing, not pushing, let me roll back a second. We will be working closely with accounting and finance staff to make sure those of you who have those cash on hand balances or don't have enough expenditures to receive a payment of whatever type of funding GOEA has for your agency, will be HCBS staff and accounting and finance staff will be working to ensure we do reach all of you. So if we don't receive any contact from you, you will still receive contact from us, where we're saying, okay, we just want you to confirm that you're all good to go with your funding. We want to make sure we don't have any hiccups at June 30th. We don't want to have to send any funding back to the federal government. And they don't want it back. They want it all expended. And we want to make sure it's expended in allowable ways. So the other push that we will do to assist you guys with making sure you're on track and your questions and concerns are known by us, and then, of course, the end result is to be addressed and there's a solution, is that GOEA staff is getting back out in the field. The program auditors are already on the move, and you will receive the regular traditional 30-day or so notice to notify you that, hey, we're planning an audit at your agency. They're coming in to review your information, see where you need more guidance, locate the wrongs so that we can get them right, and the wrongs are not just so detrimental that they're wrong. Let's find them all and make sure we get everything on track. And they'll give you the traditional process of notification, some time to be prepared, and move on. Unfortunately, for the HCBS process, we normally notify you as well. However, this process deals directly with the actual service delivery of things, and we will not be giving a lot of notice to say that we're coming on site. Part of what our HCBS program monitor job duties, or HCBS department job duties as a whole, is to observe and document certain things about the day-to-day operations of service deliveries. So we're not just coming on site to surprise you, but we may end up surprising some of you, but we're going to tell you in as much time ahead as we can. So my estimate is that we could at least give you about a 5-day notice that, hey, we'll be there. And what we'll do is a preliminary program assessment to give you an idea of where you are right now versus where we would like you to be starting July 2025, which will be our July 24, which is fiscal year 25. That'll be our first fiscal year moving forward without an assigned dollar amount of COVID funding as we know of right now. Now, of course, if the feds find more money and they assign it for Older Americans Act services, then we're going to have more money. But moving forward, that's where we are. And this is also to see how well you have come along getting through COVID, what you may be in need of, and to ensure that you are comfortable scaling back your services. So this is the other part of it. Because of the COVID funding, because of COVID, we had to increase the level of service deliveries that were there so that we could utilize the funding the government has put out here to help deal with the effects of COVID across the board. For our organizational structure, the aging network, we did this by addressing the aging population, and we set aside the routine policy of addressing those in most need, and everybody was considered to be just about in most need. So a lot of you are operating at levels of service that are much higher than you've ever done before. But as of right now, you should have already started scaling back your services, because you will not want to continue operating at a level that is unaffordable to your agency. You don't want to run in the red for too long, because you just really don't want to have to cut people off your services. But this is an inevitable occurrence, and we were told by the federal government, you do this now, and when it's time, you cut it off. This is the only way we can help get through COVID and get through this time while we're trying to figure out what COVID is and what was going on. So now we're on the back end, the final stretch of this, and you guys do need to actively scale back on service deliveries in areas where the funding is solely that of a COVID-related nature. Your regular routine Title III funding is what you should forecast and plan as being the source of what you're doing, and of course your other local dollars and other non-GOEA dispersed funding dollars, those you still have. But, and I know, we do know it's going to be difficult. It's very hard to tell a person. So you lean on your assessment process. You're required to provide the services with a priority sense of priority sense of mind. So you're stating to these individuals that while I enjoy servicing you, I do understand that you are in need. However, according to what I have to follow, I'm unable to continue to service you at this time. Now, we do double check on individuals. We do our assessments every year. We roll back. If there's someone that comes off the service, there's room for maybe 2 people to be added on. But also, if you drop 5 people off of a service, you may only be able to add 2 people back on the service, because you're also including your budget aspect of what can you afford. When you are considering your service deliveries along with your budget aspect, I want you all to also look at what you do well and what you don't do so well, and focus on the services that you can do well. Because some of the service deliveries that you are experiencing struggles with will cost you more in the long run than it would be if you have to set aside that service. And some of the agencies are having to set aside the offering of a service due to the nature of how we are now, just environmentally wise, economically wise, and it is just a consequence of time. You know, so we have to set aside some service offerings just to accommodate the effectiveness of what the other services that are actually being offered and able to be delivered without chaos. The taxonomy, the GOEA taxonomy has all of the services you can choose to deliver, and that I compare to the federal guidelines when they issued them back in 21 or 22. They issue those in a way where I'll have time to review them, update our service listing, and then be prepared to put it out for our service procurement process that we went through. So you can find the GOEA taxonomy on our website. I did have a question as to where it was located. Someone was not able to locate it on the website, so I have a note to make sure that it's a little more user accessible without moving through too much on the website for OEA. But and I can show that to you. I did show it to everybody yesterday. The taxonomy itself is current. It is up to date as of the start of this fiscal year. And it was already open. Let me send it to you. Oh, can you guys see that it's doing something weird on my screen? So might just be doing that. This is the GOEA taxonomy. If you have not ever seen it and it's a foreign document to you, please look to take a look at it and have yourself familiar with the services listed on this taxonomy. These are all the allowable services with definitions for the services themselves, the service unit count, how you are to count the delivery of these services, and if there are any additional requirements like background checks or certifications required for the individual services. I'm going to go specifically to the nutrition program information. The one, any of the service deliveries, be them alternatives or modified service delivery options that survive COVID as per the federal government's assessment on allowability, they were also incorporated into this taxonomy. So you'll see for congregate meals that you do have the grab and go meal options, and it's written into the definition. So I included in our version of the taxonomy because the federal government has decided to keep that as an option. Here is where the differences are. Again, the Title 3B and Title 3E transfers of funding or expenditure for meals are no longer an automatic allowable funding source for nutrition program. These fundings, the use of these funding sources must be approved ahead of time. And if we're in a state of emergency, then we'll give you guys that information, say this is an emergency, we're going to need you to assign your home delivered meals expense to, Title 3B or Title 3E accordingly, according to the situation. But just routinely, those options are no longer there. So you want to make sure you're not doing that. You're not coding any nutrition expenditures to Title 3B or Title 3E. And most often those are home delivered meals expenditures. Only in rare instances would it ever be a congregate meal expenditure coded to those, even in emergencies. So for the grab and go meal options, you must make sure you assess the affordability of your grab and go meal options if you are still offering grab and go meal options for your eligible participants. If you are offering it, you want to also ensure that you are not misaligning your compliance with the senior center rules to have your senior center operate a minimum of 4 hours a day in the 5 days a week by allowing for grab and go meal options. So if you're open at 8 a.m. and you close at 1, say you have senior center operational hours for the seniors to come in and enjoy whatever you have available for them in your local respective areas, but you have the seniors not coming in until 20-30 minutes before your meal starts, and then they're gone as soon as the meal is over. The seniors aren't getting any sort of congregate setting aside from sitting and eating that meal, or staying just long enough to pick the meal up, chit chat for a little while, and then move on. You have to assess whether or not you're meeting your senior center funding requirement. So that is it is a pretentious point for some people. They prefer that, it's better for them. In some situations, it may be the only thing viable at the time. We do have a situation like that in the state, and it is what's viable. So they have to continue those options. But there are other entities where if they say, no, you can't I'm not doing a grab and go anymore, they're going to lose a lot of participation from some residents. And while we're sad to see them go, your agencies are not drive-thrus. We want these seniors to come out, engage with one another, engage with, council on aging, area agency on aging staff, and really have a congregate situation where they're congregating with other people and getting the social interactions for which the OAA is purposeful about. For the home delivered meals routes, you have expanded meal routes and you have funding to support any of your expansions. You can definitely please proceed with using those, but also be mindful to review the budgetary impacts of, are you effectively offering home delivered meal services? Are you prioritizing those in most need? And then there's a balance between the congregate and the home delivered meals offerings, because are you prioritizing the delivery of both of those to individuals in most need, and not so much be more overweighted with home delivered meals than you are with congregate meals, or vice versa. There we go. Okay, so the federal partners, ACL, implemented a decision tree, and I still didn't get a chance to make this work for me. Nina sent me one. Maybe she'll Nina, if you click on the decision tree link and put it in the chat box, I can click on it and share my screen if it works for you. The federal government created ACL, I said federal government, ACL created a decision tree. They have a state unit on Asian nutrition operations program out of ACL, and they created this C1 versus C2 service delivery decision tree. And the form is really cool. You click on it, it tells you if the meal started like this and all these things happen, then in the end, is it a C1 meal or is it a C2 meal? Because, they confused us all when we were trying to pull back from the initial COVID-19 subservice interim Wells Guide. Every meal you provide is home delivered because it wasn't given in a congregate setting. And then we were having a switch back. They were confused. They confused all of us. So we were all there together. And now they've created this decision tree to kind of clean all that up. The decision tree, if not on our website now, I will make sure that it's up there on our website. We have our Title 3D program. This is another program where we are possibly struggling with making sure the service is being delivered. There is a spreadsheet of services that I can send or have posted to our website. However, if you have any issues with the delivery of an evidence-based program for your Title 3D health promotion and disease prevention services, please shoot your program monitor an email so that we can get you situated as quickly as possible. I mean, we're in March and we have till June 30th to really make sure we've expended all of these dollars in a manner allowable where we don't have to return anything. So we definitely want to get to you first if you're having issues that have started since July, especially, and now in March, you really need a quick, fast work plan to get you set. Let me send me a decision tree. I'm about to open this decision tree for you guys. The administering agency for Title 3D programs is now the National Council on Aging, I believe. So their website is a bit difficult to navigate. Ever since Title 3D has come out and ACL released it to a fellow organization to maintain those evidence-based program listings, it's kind of difficult to find the information. So they have produced a spreadsheet, and there are two different types of spreadsheets that I will make sure is available on our website. There's one that doesn't require any type of certification or facilitator, and then there's another list that's a complete full list. So if it doesn't require some sort of facilitator, I believe it means you don't have to do certain registrations and things in order to say, this is a program I'm going to offer to my seniors, and you can implement it as quickly as it takes you to get a group of seniors to come in and actually enjoy the service delivery. So we'll have that information that's available to you. Before, I think we probably only sent it out by email, but we're going to get all of this information on the website so you can access it a lot faster than, dealing with Outlook, giving up on me, trying to get you guys a Zoom link. So if you can see my screen now, Where's my note? It is. Okay, it's in the right place. This is the decision tree form that they sent out from the Nutrition and Aging Resource Center under ACL after they got a lot of flack about you have us really confused. So if you're considering whether your meals are congregate or congregate C1 or home delivered C2, no matter whether you deliver it to them, they've done a grab and go, or they're sitting on site. It tells you that even grab and go could be considered a congregate meal. Delivered meals could be considered a congregate meal. These are the expanded allowabilities that have survived COVID so that you can better balance your budget and utilize your funding where you need it, and address those in greatest need that may be not in a situation that is just as clear cut as it's a C1 situation or it's a C2 situation. So I'll make sure that this information is on the website and available to you guys also. So, and then the only other service is our in-home services. So you have struggles with those in-home services. Again, the Title 3B supportive services and Title 3E National Family Caregiver Support Program services. Those are a struggle point for reasons that are beyond most all of us. You have issues with those. That's an email to program monitor, and we get you a work plan on how you can get that situated. Right. Services. And line of form. I think that is all for the general information that I need everybody to be aware of all together at one time. So now I'm just going to open the floor to questions and comments that you guys might have about anything. Let me check my leaks. All right. And then I also have, are there any in the chat box? Any questions that I had come up in the chat box?
Yes, Shavon, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Nina. So Chris Duhan of Vermilion had questions about the timing of the WellSky rollout, the build of the new platform. Is there any information that you take him on that?
Yes, so the WellSky rollout, it does have a timeline. I am not well versed on the actual timeline itself to tell you any sticking points, but I can tell you we are on target, we're on time, we have not fallen behind on the project period. We are planning to be done with the entire build out, do our test environment, and be ready to roll for fiscal year 25, which begins July 2024. And it will be done with minimal interruption for the agencies. So and all the meetings that we sat through, it's always been a consensus that, hey, everything is doing well. Now, WellSky is a company that services a good percentage of the United States as far as those aging network state units on aging like GOEA and our agencies under our monitoring obligation. So they are the literal experts on what the feds want, need, and how maybe the feds should do something better. So we are on target, and I say that with surety that we're rolling, and it's going to be a good change for the network itself. And GOEA has covered the cost of making these changes. And every time there's a question about what we need to do, we need to change this. And our immediate question is, will it cost our agencies anything? Because we don't need it to cost you all anything. So we are covering that. Excuse me. So any other questions from any other perspective, program directors that have joined us, bookkeepers that have joined us. Oh, I'm sorry, I mentioned the form changes. So another thing that will cause us to be in contact with you a little frequently are changes that we're making to our forms. Some of the the accounting and finance forms, I've already been looking at and updating. I'm talking to Camille to get some information from her point of view. The accountant manager that works closely with the audit section. We have a new audit supervisor, and we will have a new auditor soon. So we have 2 program auditors that have been here since we had to all deal with COVID, but we've lost 2 staff members from that department. So we are going to update some of our financial documents, so then you'll have those changes. And when we get ready to roll those out, those will be accessible in a way that is convenient, that is more convenient than emailing. So the financial reports themselves, I've looked at to update, and I apologize that it was very chaotic getting through COVID with it. The quickest thing that could be done was to develop a duplicate report for the additional funding. So you guys run just 5 specific Title III programs, just 5. The Title IIIB Supportive Services Program, the Title IIIC1 Congregate Meals Program, the 3C2 Home Delivered Meals Program, the Title IIID Health Promotion Disease Prevention Program, and the Title IIIE National Family Caregiver Support Program. Those are the programs you're administering services under. Those are the programs which you receive funding. And then if you are an area agency on aging, then you have the Title III Area Agency on Aging funding for administrative costs. And the confusion that we have all pretty much come to a consensus agreement about is that it seemed that you were needing to operate COVID-related programs that were very like and same and similar to your Title III programs, your regular 5 programs. However, the financial report process gave that implication in ways that we really weren't familiar with until it was probably too late. So now the new financial report process that I'm working on, it just simply says this is your program report, and within this program, what funding sources did you use to support the expenditures of this program? Now, the WellSky data entries themselves will have that breakout definition of what funding source covered which unit cost, and then it generates itself in the report as broken out data, and that covers and satisfies all that we need to know about whether you use Title IIIB funding for these 10 units or you use Title IIIB ARC funding for these 25 units. But as far as your financial reports, just an assessment of it across the board in the office, we need to get you some forms, even if it's just through the end of this fiscal year, that make your documentation of your expenditures more sensible and a little less chaotic. I will do the same thing with your budget forms. I have looked at the budget package itself, and I've made some updates, but Camille and I are still in communication about which changes to make on those forms. If you receive notification that we have a new thing that has rolled out, we are just asking you to pick up with it moving forward. We're not going to look for you to go and correct something that you may have sent to us just the day before we decided to roll out the new thing. So we're taking our time to walk into this without giving you guys a chaotic way of meeting, unnecessary deadlines. We don't want to do that for you at all. We want to make sure it's not chaotic. So is there any other question that's in the chat box? Oh, Lakeisha found the link for the decision tree. If you guys see in the chat box, you click the link and you can, or save the link and add it to your browser, and you'll definitely have that decision tree form that I showed you. All right, y'all quiet on me this morning. We don't have any questions. It's okay if you don't have any. Sometimes you got to let it soak in. And if you do have some later, you know where to find us and where to reach us. So that is what I want to meet with you guys today about, to make sure that you all on the same page. You are the second largest group I've had since yesterday. Well, I say that, but it looks like that. One of the second largest groups I've had. I think we had 3 really large groups, but I have already connected with the majority of the agent network. So I will still do the afternoon sessions, and it will still be the exact same information as I'm giving you today. And this information was the exact same as what I gave the 3 sessions hosted yesterday. So you guys, I didn't start off like I did before. So before we end, I do want to say thank you so very much for all the work you do. It's so important. It's so purposeful. And anything coming down from GOEA, we want to be a supportive function for you. And even when it doesn't seem like we are doing that, that is the angle and the goal at all times. Even with the no, you can't do that, it is not beneficial for you to do the thing, then you know me, I'm gonna tell you no, don't do it. Yeah, don't do it. So if you are not electronically prepared for something like COVID, which means you need equipment. I know I have said, no, you cannot buy that, but usually it's with STPH dollars. No, you can't get more equipment. You can't buy laptops and things like that. But you need to assess your agency's electronic and make sure you have devices and things that you need to join transmissions like this Zoom call. So that you have that, as it's just necessary in this day and age for you to have those electronic devices, laptops with cameras, cameras added to your desktop screens, larger desktop screens if you need those. So assess your agency's electronic health and make sure you have the equipment that you need, especially before your ARC funds expire. So, all right, if you guys don't have any additional questions, thank you so much for your time, and we will see you moving forward.
Thank you, Shavon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Did she say we can go?
Thank you.
Shavon. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all have a great one.